Thank you. Thank you. Thanks. All right. So I took today's called me and I took the trip. I got a lot of things on my plate next week, court, federal, and all that. I'm not worried about it.
You got your six.
It's a misdemeanor. Any reporters here, I better be careful, you know. So after next week.
We'll haul them up here again.
It's a
We'll haul them back up here again.
contempt of court because I was accused of racial profiling. Going on 8 years after Obama took office, but that's okay. So also I came here because I'm from here, Springfield, Massachusetts, born June 14, Flag Day. Army anniversary. And my friend David Trump. So we were all born on the same day. Not the same year, same day. So I'm back home. Went to Springfield with a nice lady that drove me around. She got 5 guns. And took me to see my old house. 6 corners next to the cemetery. So it was kind of fun. Went to the South End. My father had an Italian grocery store there. I wish it was still there next to the casino. I'd be a billionaire. How do you guys do a casino on Main Street? I mean, there's so many. In Arizona, you can only build them on the Indian reservation. So I don't know how you guys swung that.
Got a mayor from the South End.
It's okay. I saw the brochure. I don't know who wrote that.
And every highway.
All right,
You did it your way, guy.
Not the president. I have a flip phone. And I sing my way usually sometimes on national TV. Since I don't know how to sing, especially at fundraisers, I sing it. So they pay to keep my mouth shut. That's how you really know. So anyway, must be. Hold on a minute. I'm waiting. I got lawyers. Hello. Hello? I got a whole bunch of lawyers trying to contact me. Told them I'm out of pocket. Massachusetts. You need a passport to come into Massachusetts. So, this is about guns. By the way, that brochure, I would say, who wrote all those nice things about it? My enemies write better than that. Do you read what they... You write that?
That wasn't me. I'm in there. I don't write my own stuff.
First of all, half of it is garbage. They didn't say one nice thing about me in there. I have 24 years of sheriff. I must have done something good. One thing I did do, cracked anybody that abuses dogs and cats, I lock them up and put them in jail. And I have the dogs in jail too. The abused dogs, they eat the steak. My inmates eat vegetarian, they don't eat meat. I took that away last year. So that's why I take care of the dogs. Tent cities, I can go on and on. But I don't want to go that way right now because I want to get to the guns. Maybe a little illegal immigration, sometimes it ties in.
Yes.
So actually, I have about 8,000, 10,000 people. Hold on, it has to be important too. Hello?
Lock them up.
Hello? Someone's playing games. 951, what's that area code?
Amherst.
Where?
Amherst.
Where?
Amherst.
Amherst?
Just making a joke. He's joking.
It's a joke.
Doesn't anybody know where 951 area code is? Go to your Mickey Mouse computer, you'll see it. It's not Mexico, is it?
California.
Oh, yeah, California. Okay. I'm a little angry. Everywhere I go, we have demonstrators, and I usually go right out in front of them, and I don't see any demonstrators here.
They're here.
Where are they?
They're up in town.
They can't get
What
close.
good is in town? They should be here.
You can take them right out.
I'll tell you what, if you have, do you have a spy there to see who they are?
I'm sure.
So, I'll tell you what, if they're still around, I leave here, maybe someone has a gun that can protect me.
I got one, Joe.
Maybe we can drive by so I can get out and wave to them. I do it all the time. And get you some free press. That's what you need. So, the guns.
Yes.
Guns.
Yeah.
By the way, Smith & Wesson, they're here, my hometown. I just bought 2,000 of their AR-15s because the Obama took away my tank, my helicopter, my guns that were donated. I got all this for nothing. Took it all away. So I bought a new helicopter, 407, for my budget, and 2,000 Smith & Wesson to get to my deputies. But I gave these automatic weapons to my deputies 15 years ago.
Yes.
When no cops could give automatic weapons. So like Ray, I think it was Ray, or the speaker before me, or was it Ray that was very astute and mentioned the role of the sheriff. Where'd Ray go? He disappeared.
Dave.
Huh?
Dave.
Dave. Where's Dave at?
He's probably talking to somebody.
Oh, he invites me here, he doesn't want to hear me. So Dave mentioned the role of the sheriff, the top law enforcement officer elected by the people, the only law enforcement official elected. I know they're trying to take away your sheriff, they don't have much authority. In Connecticut, they took away all the sheriffs. The governor, I don't know how he got, of course he went to jail after. So there are no more sheriffs in Connecticut. When I came down to try to help, it was too late. Always support your local sheriff. But they're not all the same. Things have to work, they have to worry about their own constituency and all that. So I'm only the sheriff of Maricopa County, or was until 5 months ago. Until George Soros pumped in $5 million last month. The Department of Justice charged me one day before election, voting, one day before, for contempt of court. Misdemeanor. 8 years they've been working on that. So just before Obama left office, these people trying to take care of the elected sheriff. So we'll see what happens next week. Or I got it up to the Supreme Court, but I've been postponing it several times, so I think I ran out of gas. We'll see what happens. But always elect a sheriff. Now, since I was elected 24 years ago, I decided to build up the posse. See, when I was in Springfield, growing up, a little kid, my mother and father came here from Italy, legally, of course, and opened businesses. But I remember seeing cowboy movies in the posse. So here I am, the sheriff 50 years later. I never forgot the posse. So I built up the posse to 3,000. Only the sheriff can swear in private citizen. And I took advantage of that. In fact, I armed 500 armed posse. Had them help my regular deputies locking up illegals. Dave, you want to take this and see, you know how to work it? So I built up the posse. Have them go after hookers. They like that job. and drug traffickers, everything. But armed.
Yes.
After these shootings that occurred, the last one was in Colorado, and I went public. I think I got 18 million hits when I said the 250,000 people in Arizona, they have concealed weapons, although you don't have to have a permit, anybody can carry a gun now in Arizona, that we should mobilize them, and anytime there's another school shooting, church, any shooting in a forum, I expect someone out of 250,000 to be there at the time. And I expect them to take their gun out and shoot the shooter. So 5 days later, California, remember they killed 12 people? 5 days later after I said that. And there was no one there that had a gun that could shoot the shooters. Or if they had, they didn't do anything with it. Because law enforcement can't show up in 1 minute. You know, they're killing people right away before law enforcement shows up. If not, if the law enforcement showed up on time, would it save some lives? No. So what's wrong with a private citizen using a weapon to save his whole life and others? So I don't know why everybody complains, especially law enforcement. Oh, this is awful. You know, they may shoot the wrong person when we show up. All these excuses. So that doesn't pass the mustard test with me. Sometimes you have to take risk in life to save lives. So I cause a little rumple on that.
Right.
And then most police departments, especially in Arizona, you have to destroy the guns. You can't sell them. Well, I sold all the weapons that we had, you know, that were seized. I think we got $300,000. So I used that money to arm more posse. So we got more guns. So that was my philosophy, because we have terrorism. Of course, some may be crossing the border, but we have terrorists trying to destroy our country. Of course, we have the drugs. I spent 28 years with the U.S. Drug Enforcement. In fact, I was head of the DA in Boston in 74, 78. But I was head of the DA in Turkey, Mexico City, South America, Texas, Arizona. As a top federal guy, I only say that because I know where Mexico is. Most politicians, they wouldn't know where Mexico is. And the only time when they're all running for office, they run to the border, take a picture of the chicken fence, and say, if I'm elected, I will stop all the illegals from coming into the United States. Then they go home. They got their Mexican dinner. They go back to Massachusetts or wherever they go. Of course, they forget all the drugs come across the border. Everybody forgets that. I know Donald Trump. By the way, I supported him for day one. And, not later, day one. The first rally he had was July in 2015. No politician would stand next to him. And I said that we have three things in common. And by the way, in all my speeches or talking about him, he never told me what to say. So I always had to wing it, figure out, am I saying the same thing? We all happen to, both of us seem to be going the same highway anyway. So I didn't have any problems saying things that may hurt him. But I remember the first time I introduced them, three things in common: Flag Day, born the same day. Then I mentioned the birth certificate, Obama's birth certificate. So I use my posse to do that. So nobody's gonna complain I use taxpayers' money. Posse operates free, they buy their own helicopters, airplanes, all that, but they can only report to me. So I use my cold case posse to start that birth certificate in 2011, and we've had 2 big press conferences. Nobody would cover it, and those that did would badmouth me, and I finally put the nail in the coffin in December before I left. Just by chance, we really proved that's a fake document, not just on the computers,
Right.
but also how they took the 13 items from a lady's birth certificate that we met in Hawaii and took that information and pasted it on the birth certificate. I don't think you need any more proof. Nobody would look at it. I could not get any forensic scientists. I had to go to Italy to hire a great organization. They took it, they thought it was garbage, and they figured out it isn't. Then we had another one in Hawaii. So we had 2 different experts. Nobody will face that issue with the birth certificate. Think of that. You got this General Flynn, I feel sorry for the guy, but he's got a government form. He forgot to check a box or something, whether he gave a speech. You got a fake government document, it's a felony.
Right.
A felony. If it was you, you'd be in jail, believe me.
Right.
Forging a government document? Hawaii? And nobody looks at it. Of course, I sued Obama when he tried to release those kids and all that. I lost that one. So I'm not a good, he doesn't like me. So the last shot is next week, so that's okay. But, and the veterans, love the veterans. I joined the Army from Springfield in 1950. I graduated from Commerce High School, joined the Army, turned 18, all the same week.
Oh my
So it was Springfield that I joined. So I'm tough protecting the veterans. Even in the jail, I separated all the veterans from everybody else. Everybody in jail, I think we started at 15 years ago, has to listen to the Star Spangled Banner. God bless America. So I do that. I just put American flags on all the striped uniforms, not the pink underwear, but it's all gone, and the new guys wiped everything out. But that's all right, took down the tents. Put those tents up 1993, and I able to get them free. I said, I want Korean tents to go up in the desert. So we've had over 500,000 people serve their time. They're all convicted. They're not innocent like all this stuff you hear. So that was a pretty good program. And my soundbite was, if our veterans can fight for our country and live in 120 degrees, these inmates can do the same. And it is 120. So I bring up the posse because that personifies what volunteerism is. And that's what you are. And that's what the dog is congratulating you. It's not a Mexican Chihuahua, is it? What kind of dog is it? I gotta be careful what I say. I love Mexican Chihuahua. Don't forget, I was a director in Mexico City when G. Gordon Liddy and I closed the border under Nixon, 1969, Operation Intercept. Then I took over Mexico. They hated us in Mexico. I had agents there working undercover. I got along great with the Mexican. Attorney General used to come to my house of Mexico. And I was pretty sharp. I got to give myself and my wife credit. I've been married going on 60 years this year. So she followed me everywhere. So instead of the big stick, we used to feed him blueberry pie. He loved blueberry pie. So my wife kept pumping out blueberry pie. And I went to the PX. I got American whiskey, threw that in on the side. I got more done with whiskey and blueberry pie. I got along great with the Mexicans. I had an office in Panama. I used to work with Noriega. He just died. And I had an office in Argentina, Bogota. I was the only guy in Turkey, covered the Middle East with having gun battles. I got along great with everybody. I won't mention, I kind of protect my daughter and my son-in-law, but we have 4 adopted grandkids, different minorities, and I'm supposed to be the racist. Everybody calls me a racist. That's okay. So I love the foreign people. That's where my folks came from. But you have to come here legally, not illegally. And David, he was mentioning the feds to help the federal. You're right. I mean, local law enforcement, they work with the feds, whether it's guns, drugs. That's all federal charges, but it's also local too. And the big question is, with me enforcing the illegal immigration laws, that I did not do it properly, but I had the authority because I had my people trained to do it under the feds. They became immigration officers. Nobody talks about them. So you have to work together. Feds can't do it by themselves. We have too big of a problem here. So why not enlist the services of the cops? We have a war on cops going on. Every time a cop shoots someone, it's on video. And the politicians, the minute they see the video looks bad, they already convict and hang the cop. Or they bring in the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division, which they brought in. Obama did 30 days after they took office against me. So we're losing respect. One reason I supported Trump right off the bat, and I know this for a fact, I've been with him many times, he loves the veterans and he loves the cops. That's why they support him. And he loves you guys. I guess since Reagan, he's only the second one to be invited by the NRA to speak. Other presidents don't go. So the NRA is very important too. I think they're trying to get some law passed where you have the right to cross state lines. If you have a permit in Massachusetts, you'll be able to go anywhere in the country without gun. So if you're good in one state, why can't you be good in the whole country? I mean, what's the difference?
No infringement.
Huh?
No infringement. There's the answer.
No, the problem is you got these politicians that are trying to take away the guns.
Right.
Do everything they can, including the former mayor of New York, Soros, you name it. They want to take away your guns. That's what it's about. I remember there was some talk about whether I would follow the law if it was passed that we confiscate guns. I said, I'm not going to follow the law. I can establish priorities. I have more important things to do than take away guns. So that's where I was coming from. Now what makes me feel good is people like you still support me or my concept. Everybody says, oh, you're a great guy, Sheriff, you know. So wait a minute, I'm not great. I have 2 things going for me. Not that I went to Commerce High School and learned how to type, which followed me through my whole life. When I was a cop, I had to do my own reports. When I was an agent, come back, make the drug buy, come back, type up the report, 2 minutes. All the other agents took all day, so I could go out and lock up more people. So now as sheriff, I have my typewriter. I don't have a computer. Never had, never will. I got my Smith Corona typewriter. I got you got my telephone? Yeah, I need that because I landed here I had no battery working in my phone. I found out I could get it when I lift up my, what do you call that? Flip-flopper. So I have Frank Sinatra, Sing My Way. That's great. I love that phone. That's my favorite song. And Donald Trump, I was on his airplane. I don't know if it was coincidence. I doubt it. So I said, My Way fits you to a T. That's my favorite song. So here I am at the inauguration. He comes out with the First Lady, and they're singing My Way, my song. So, my wife hates that song. You know why? It starts off, and now the end is near. So she doesn't like it. Have room for questions? How long do I have?
You've got as long as you want, sir.
I have a question.
I went to an Italian restaurant last night, and what do you take for diarrhea?
Imodium.
I just about made it here. But anybody have any questions? Yes.
Do you see any chance that a birth certificate fraud case will go forward? Do you have any hope?
I've been to some congressmen. I've been, but I'm writing a book,
Good for you.
my third one, and that will be a big chapter. I'm still hoping the government tapped my lines. I got the proof on that, and the investigate illegally, of course.
Yes.
And so it'll be interesting. But I'm not giving up. I'm not retired. I have opened an office. I'm doing a lot of things. I don't know what the future holds for me, but I'm sure not going fishing. I have no hobbies, so I'm going to be around one way or the other. I give a lot of speaking. So I should be in office this term. Unfortunately, I didn't make it. I had a lot of forces against me, but I've been elected 6 times. With all the heat I've taken, how did I survive? I look back. I mean, we had the 4th largest county in the United States, and larger than 18 states. In all my controversies, and I survived every 4 years. This one was tough. There was too many forces against me. And I don't know about these votes, whether they're all accurate.
No.
So I don't know how I got beat, but I got beat. I raised 13 million bucks. What sheriff raises 13 million, but it didn't do me any good when the other guy pumps in 5 million, this Soros and everything else. So I had a lot of things against me, but I'm not dead yet.
Amen. Right. Good for you.
Anybody else?
Got a question, sir. Although I think the birth certificate was in fact false, at least the one that he's presented, how can we account for the fact that his birth announcement was in the Hawaii paper when he was a baby?
Oh, you have to ask that. So all day, you must have been watching CNN when they did the
I don't know the answer. I would love to hear that.
So the question is, the Hawaii, how come his name was in the birth part of the newspaper?
Yeah.
Anybody could submit that name. You can be a citizen in Hawaii and nobody would follow through that we found out. 1 year, Hawaii, go down, show an electric bill, water bill to show you were there in 1 year, and you can get a birth certificate.
Oh my
That's all you
God.
need. Yeah, how come nobody, you talk about the border? What about Hawaii? So we found out that someone put the name in there or after the fact or whatever, I don't know, but we refuted that.
I appreciate that.
Well,
But the main issue is, how are you going to refute that they took information, forget the Negro, African American, everybody dovetails in that, forget the computer, what color the paper, all that garbage. We showed that they took 13 items and put that on his birth certificate. Our experts in Italy and Hawaii, yes, it was removed and put on there. That is a killer thing. And nobody will talk about it. Media, blackout.
Well, it was.
Politicians, blackout.
That's the answer.
Well, it was also asserted that at the time that the hospital was under
Yeah, I
a different name.
Yeah.
I'll let you take it from
Yeah,
there.
okay, the house, all this is true, but nobody believes it.
Sure.
But we proved it technically with experts, forensic scientists show they took it and just how they fit it in there.
Copy and paste.
And yeah, but you had to make sure how it was slanted and not just pasted it.
Sure.
So that's when I left office. No one will touch it. We have all the media down there and they look at it. And this time they kind of believed it a little. Of course, they would not report it. But it's a big cover-up. The media is involved. The politicians don't want to touch it. What do you have left? Public opinion? I probably got all my campaign guys said, don't talk about the birth certificate. It's going to hurt your election. I said, I don't care. I'm going to do it. We did it. And stand by it. And don't hide it. But nobody talks about it. How many people running for office talks about the birth certificate?
None.
Why
The
not?
shadow government does not want to hear that.
That's right, I know.
Nobody wants to hear it.
The shadow government doesn't want anybody to speak about it.
Yeah.
Got a question. Why do you think that they actually posted this birth certificate on the government site in a Photoshop file that can be separated into, what was that, 7 or 9 different sections instead of a JPEG? Was that just a slap in the face? See what we could do?
Well, when they put it out,
Yeah,
the
instead of a
president,
picture, it was-
they put it out from the White House. They delivered it from Hawaii, the law firm Perkins Coie, who is the big Soros. He gave all the money to, Soros got all the money from that law firm to go after me. But they delivered it from Hawaii to the White House, the one you saw all over the world. That's the one I'm talking about. That's the fake birth certificate. Yeah.
Who is this guy, Barack Obama?
That's
He
good.
wasn't born here. It looks like both of his parents were CIA assets and his stepfather. He disappears in college. Who really is he?
Well, you know, the reason we did this, if nothing else, we wanted Congress to look at it and pass a law that you must vet a candidate for president. That's all. He cannot pass the background of a janitor working for me. You can get through the background. There is nothing. So you ought to be pushing this, that anybody running for president, don't let the media do it. Vet that person and make sure that he was born.
You're a professional investigator. Who is he? Who is this guy?
Who is he?
Barack Obama.
I don't know. I hear a lot of stories. We'll be here 50 years.
All right.
But you know what saved me? Because Cruz, remember they said, they called me to New York Times and said, hey, how come you're not investigating Cruz? You investigated Obama. Don't you care where he's from? And you know what my answer was? From day one, I said, I am not looking to see where he was born. I'm only looking at a fake government document. I stuck with that. I stick with it now. So I responded, I don't know. I'm not investigating where he's from. If he's got a fake document, I'll be glad to investigate it. Then you may say, why is a little old sheriff down in Arizona investigating the birth certificate? Well, it was during the election, and if he was in here legally, that would affect the local election. That's how I got in on it. This is a federal thing. So that's the way it is. And this country will not bring that to a conclusion. It's hard for me to do it. I can't issue federal subpoenas and all that. But I would love to see someone in the federal government, and I couldn't turn it over to Holder, No way could I turn it. Couldn't turn it over to the FBI, that's for sure. So I was riding along. Yes.
Go ahead.
Sheriff Joe, my name is Jenny Rochella, and I'm a Kansas County resident, also with the Rally for America. And what advice could you give to all of us local people that are in the trenches? Some of us are new, some of us have been doing it years and years. What advice, with your longevity, could you give us locals to unite our country? What would you say?
To unite the country?
What would you say to bring people together again?
Well, I tell you, remember the Tea Party? You don't remember the Tea Party, you always forgot. You should remember the Tea Party and because it's Massachusetts that discovered the Tea Party, right?
Right here.
Huh?
Right
And
here.
how about the,
Worcester Tea Party.
yeah, how about the border, Patriots, what was that, other thing that came, huh? That went down to the border on the illegal immigrant.
The Minutemen.
The Minutemen, Massachusetts. So Massachusetts did some good things. Tea Party, Minutemen, me. So, the Tea Party, I'm glad you brought it up. 200 of them came to my office, or they had the petition. Sheriff, you're our last hope. We want you to investigate the birth certificate. And anybody would have been nuts. They would have thrown it in a wastebasket. So I'm nuts. So I took it. That's what got me started. The Tea Party came to ask me to do it, and was I stupid? I don't know. I did it. It was the right thing to do. I'm the elected sheriff. I don't take orders from nobody but the 4 million people that I work for America. So what you have to do, get that Tea Party concept going again, get you guys out there. And another thing, when I introduced Trump, I hit a nerve, a big nerve when I said, I got a standing ovation when I said this. It wasn't standing because he didn't have any seats, 8,000 people were standing, but I got the biggest cheer. You know what I said? There's a silent majority out there.
Sure.
I said that July of 2015. And that's the biggest cheer I got when I said there's a silent majority out there. And that's how Trump won.
That's right.
Believe me. So if you can get a president elected, I'm sure you can do a lot of other good things. So get out there, don't be afraid to talk. If you have to carry a gun, okay, it's legal, I guess, some places. Don't do it illegally, you'll end up in jail. So only the bad guys can carry. By the way, statistics show when Florida did away with their concealed weapon in Arizona, crime has gone down. Crime goes down, not up. Yeah.
Your facts hurt my feelings.
What?
Your facts hurt my feelings.
So, yes.
I'm getting mailings from the National Center for Police Defense. Is that an organization that we would give to that would send money to you? That's what they're saying.
Yeah, I know. They are ex-cops. They are raising money to defend cops. Remember the gal, the female that just shot someone in Kansas? They gave $150,000 for her. She was found not guilty just recently. So but they're also helping me out too. So that is a legit. I'm helping them out by helping them raise money for all the cops, plus they're helping out my legal fund that's costing a fortune to defend myself. Because I got all these lawyers. I had to get rid of a whole bunch of them.
Is there another way that we could donate to you today?
No, that's all right. Just if you want to do the legal fund, that will probably, unless you're a billionaire, if you send $100, that would be good for 10 stamps that they charge me for. No, I'm just joking. These lawyers, man, they charge you for everything. Yes.
Sir, Christopher Mader from the Meat and Potato Show on KT&T Radio. You said earlier that, well, call me a nut. You were looking into the Obama birth certificate. You know, James Comey said that no reasonable prosecutor would go after Hillary Clinton. I know you're a sheriff and not a prosecutor, but would you term yourself as that unreasonable person possibly going after and investigating Hillary Clinton?
Yeah.
Me?
Yes.
Well, if it had to do with a criminal violation that comes under my authority, I mean, I use the birth certificate as a technical point because that would affect my county, the voting process. But I don't know if I should. You with a radio station?
I do a radio
Anybody listen to you?
Everybody, yes. We are nationwide, sir.
You from here?
I am.
How should I say that?
And
Well, let's say,
you're going out nationwide here.
according to, what?
You're going out nationwide here.
All right, what do you got?
Right here.
Oh, you push that?
There you go.
According to published reports,
Unnamed sources.
I don't, was I getting on that question, because we did turn over a lot of things to the FBI 2 years ago. But nothing was, including my tapping my line, and tapping Trump's line several years ago, when his family and all that. Who's the guy that does his show, the controversial guy? National. Alex Jones. He broke that story. But that's it, just him. Nobody else will talk about it.
But the reason why I use that term, unreasonable, as James Comey said last year in July, you know, no reasonable person. And I've often said on my show, it's like, well, let's get somebody unreasonable. And you had said earlier, it's like everyone called you crazy because you're looking into this Bertha thing. Oh, he's crazy. What's it? But it became a huge story. And I think when James Comey said no reasonable prosecutor would look into this, it kind of shut the thing down. And I said often on my show, then let's get somebody unreasonable. Let's look into this. There's tons of evidence. You, sir, said that there's tons of evidence in the Bertha thing. There's tons of evidence here. Let's find somebody, quote unquote, unreasonable who's going to look into this.
First of all, it's very unusual for a law enforcement official to recommend charges. Usually you go to the prosecutor, especially the Department of Justice. You can't go to the toilet without, I mean, they're investigating me. Actually, the FBI is too, on a misdemeanor. Investigating me when they got terrorism and everything else going on. But on a contempt of court, that's what it is.
There you go. Thank you, sir.
So, I don't know, I'm concerned about our president, after him, that's what this is all about. And, you know, as a top federal guy with the Justice Department, I know how things go in Washington. I know how restrictive you are in the feds to release information on cases and all that type of thing. Doesn't happen very often. Yeah, Loretta Lynch stopping off in Phoenix, meeting Clinton on an airplane.
Right on the plane, right.
Right down the street from my office.
And why can't we get that information?
So you got all this coincidences going on with all this. But I still believe that when you do an investigation, sometimes I may go a little overboard, but that's how you solve cases, or by taking that extra step.
Sure.
You know, you got to take that extra step.
If I can, I know other people have questions. Here we go again with innuendo on Trump. Innuendo that we've had 6 months of investigations, and I said on my show they've had half a dozen people telling us that there's nothing there, and then other senators get on, well, we need more investigations, so great, we need 6 more people to tell us what 6 other people have already told us. that there's nothing going on here. Yet, as you said, we've got the Loretta Lynch's, all that innuendo, can't necessarily prove it, yet it's there. We know it's there. Why aren't we really focusing on what really is there, and why aren't we doing that rather than focusing on the nothing? That 6, 9, 10 months that have been going on, it's nothing, always nothing. They have a new senator, they have a new person come up, oh, we're gonna get this person, we're gonna get him now, and, oh, it's nothing.
Well,
but we're gonna get him now.
So the bottom line, you know what the story is. They want him out of office.
That's it.
When I say they, it's not all Democrats, you know.
Sure, I
It's
understand that, sir. Sure,
Republicans.
sure.
So every time, that's the establishment, every time they can put the knife in there, keep twisting it over and over.
But again, they keep coming up with absolutely zero. And again, they'll have more hearings, and it's like, oh, we're gonna get them now, and oh, it's nothing. And we keep going through this again.
Well, I kind of feel sorry for him and his family, I mean, but he's still fighting back. Thank God for Twitter.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Tell me what, hey, Dave.
Sheriff, so with the past though, we understand that this president probably did not have the birth certificate. And that's in the past, so why doesn't the present president just go ahead and rescind all of his executive orders and everything that was done already?
All his executive orders?
Yes, all of Obama's.
You mean Obama's?
Yes, because obviously that's in the past, there's nothing we can do about that.
Well, he hasn't.
Worry about this preparing in the present.
You can't use the birth certificate as a reason. They never investigated it. You have to prove it. They should investigate it.
But the current president can't rescind Obama's.
Well, it won't be.
Well, he already has been. Right, he already has been.
But I'm saying
He
all
could,
the
I guess.
unlawful things that Obama did, why doesn't Trump just go in now and say, hey, I'm the president, I don't like this law?
Yeah, but if it's unlawful, you can't take my word. I investigated it, but use me for the case. But the feds have to look into this, or Congress has to. The question is, why isn't Congress having a committee to look into it? They look at the Patriots inflated football, and they have all these hearings. I can't get a hearing on the president's birth certificate. You figure that one out.
Right.
All I want is a committee to look at it, like they're doing with everything else. They won't touch it. I talked to congressmen. Oh, I can't do this. Why? Question is why?
They're being blackmailed by somebody.
Well, I don't know about blackmail, but maybe politically they don't want to face that, you know, for political reasons. Because a lot of people that don't believe, that do believe he's here legitimate and all that. So, how much, is that it?
You're good?
Can we put the dog up here? Why is the dog up here?
Because it's his dog. It's his dog.
If this is Arizona, I guarantee you, they'd be watching a dog. They wouldn't care about him. They'd be watching a dog. Right, Dave? Where's my phone?
I got your phone and your message right here, sir.
He's calling me the governor. He looks like, I thought you were the governor from California. Right there. Right there, next to the red shirt. Are you, huh? He looks like the governor.
No, he's one of ours.
He's one of yours?
Be a different state.
Thank you for your courage, sir. God bless the courage.
Thank you.
Thank you. When you come to Arizona, look me up.